Gogokid teacher Kristie here to talk to you about the art of student output. Student output is one of the very most important aspects of an online English classroom. This is what the parents are paying for. They want their child to speak. Conversational English with a native speaker is the goal, and that's why the student is here. So eliciting as much student output as possible is always the goal in every single class that we have. Student output should always be at least the 50% level, if not higher. This means the student is talking just as much, if not more, than you are. Being able to elicit this much student output requires the use of several different ESL techniques that you have hopefully already learned. Effectively eliciting this much student output often requires the use of several other ESL techniques as well, such as TPR, props, and effective corrections. When you pull these all together and use these tools effectively, you can get the student output level that you need. First of all, you need to make sure that the class is fun and interesting for the student. This lowers what we call their affective filter, and it makes them more willing to take chances and to try new things. They need to be willing to take a risk to be speaking this much in class. It's also important that you are focusing from the very beginning on eliciting complete sentences from the student. If you set the expectation that a complete sentence is required from the very beginning, it's much easier to achieve the levels of student output that you're trying to reach. So why is it that we want so much student output anyway? The goal here is language acquisition, the ability to apply language and to engage in conversation, not simply language learning, which is just about learning vocabulary words. So in order to achieve language acquisition, the students need to be using the language. They need to be engaging in the conversation, not simply listening to you as the teacher talk. So how can we encourage this increased level of student output? In the lower levels, it's going to involve a lot of repetition in the beginning. You want to model what it is you want the student to say, and then you want them to repeat you. Because we are looking for that 50% at least student output, it's important that your language use is limited almost solely to the things that you want the student to say. So rather than saying, Johnny, can you say apple? We would say, Johnny, apple. Yes, apple. Apple. Next, you want to push for that complete sentence. Maybe you want them to say something like, I like apples. So you could say, Johnny, what do you like? You're probably going to have to model the answers to this question at first. So you could start out by holding up the apple. Hopefully at that point the student will say apple, and you can say, good job. At this point, we're going to push for the complete sentence. We can do that a couple of different ways. I have taught my students that this simple TPR motion means that I want a complete sentence. So if it's a regular one of my students, they'll know this means complete sentence. If it's a new student to you, you can model the sentence. You could do it one way you can model a complete sentence is by counting out the words on your fingers as you say them. So, I like apples. Good job. Another way you can model it is with sentence strips. I like apples. Good job. As they learn the sentence structure you're looking for, you can start pulling back how much you say. So the next time you could say, What do you like? Banana. Good. Very good. And hopefully the student will take the cues from your card, from your counting, or from your TPR that you are looking for that complete sentence. The younger the child, the more you're going to have to model until the student is able to do it on their own. But if you continue using these techniques consistently with the student, they will begin to learn the expectation and their student output will continue to increase. Another really important aspect to getting that increased student output is simply making sure you are giving plenty of wait time. That's that quiet time where you're just patiently waiting for the student to respond. Keep in mind, they're probably not going to respond as quickly as a native speaker would to the question. They have to go through a bit of a process in their head before they can produce the desired output. First, they have to think about what you've said. They have to take your words in as English. They have to translate it in their head to Chinese. Then they have to come up with the answer, probably in Chinese first, translate it back to English before they can begin to speak. Because of this, it's really important that you are giving them enough time to go through this process and come up with an answer. Be patient. At least 3 to 4 seconds of just silent wait time as you give them a chance to compose their answers. The younger the student, the more wait time you're probably going to need to give them. Corrections also go hand in hand with student output. You want to be correcting mistakes, but you want to keep it in balance too. You don't want to do so many corrections that you overwhelm the student, cause that affective filter to rise, and make them less willing to take a chance and to try to make those complete sentences. So choose your corrections carefully. Remember to never make more than one correction at one time. And if you see that they are continually struggling with it, even after you've corrected it, just go ahead and move on. You can come back and try the correction again at a later point in the lesson, or you can just note it in the parent feedback and ask the parent to practice that particular word or sentence structure with their student. For the upper level students, all of these same techniques you use with the lower level students still apply. So I still use my sentence TPR. I will still occasionally count out the words for the sentence. And I will also occasionally use sentence strips. There are a few other ways that you can elicit additional student output from an upper level student as well. You want to make sure you are asking plenty of extension questions. These upper level students need the opportunity to engage in an authentic conversation. Don't just simply ask them what they see or what do they like. Ask them why. Why do you like apples? Or ask them, do you prefer apples or bananas? Why? Ask them if they have ever seen the materials you're covering. So if you're talking about animal camouflage, you can ask them, have you ever seen a cheetah? You have? Where did you see it? And encourage them to answer you in complete sentences always. Always the complete sentences. I hope you found these suggestions helpful, and I hope you can use them to increase your student output in every class you teach. Have a great day. Bye-bye.